Hey folks, how you doing? Papa Joe here. Let me put that window up. Hey, I have made well over 200 videos for the trucking industry. And I have been told numerous times that they have, or y'all, have watched different parts of them and often wondered just how accurate they really were. And then you get out here in the world and you find out that they're actually fairly accurate. Well, we're going to do another phone interview tonight, and it's with Nomad. Y'all have seen him on the live chats and seen some of his comments, whether he was mad at me or not. Right? Nomad now has 2 years under his belt with the same company. So he did listen to some of my advice, but now he's finding out that some of what I have said is coming true on his count. So we're going to touch base with him and let him tell you the story in his words. And I'll try not to interrupt a whole lot, but I am Papa Joe. I interrupt. Nomad, how's it going, brother?
Oh, it's going.
Right? Another fun day in trucking, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, gotta go for a little bit today. I got a few 100 miles.
Hey, well, that's something. That beats no miles.
Yep.
Now, you don't mind telling them who you're with, right?
I don't know. I'd rather not put my company on blast, really.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know how that could backfire on me. Some of them already know who I'm with.
Right, right. Well, and to me, it's if you're telling the truth on them, then it's hard for them to get mad and say you slandered them, right? So, well, yeah. But no, Bob.
That's hard for them.
Right. Well, sometimes the truth hurts people, even corporations. But we'll leave their name out of it. But you've been with them 2 years. You go ahead and start telling the story your way, unless you want me to interject somewhere. Go ahead for it.
Well, what do you want to know? What's going on now?
Well, basically, I'll give you the lead in on it if that'll help.
All right.
Like I said, you've been with the same company 2 years. Your first, year and a half, you was tickled to death. Best company ever made, so to speak. Making good money, getting good miles, and you're working your way up the pay scale. And now what's happening to you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm noticing that the higher my pay goes, the lower my miles go.
Now, was that...
the closer I get to a bonus I have coming, the less miles I've got, right before that bonus comes in. So it's only going to make up the difference for itself.
Which it's a yearly bonus that's based upon how many miles you're getting.
Right. So it's a pretty good size bonus, but that bonus doesn't do you any good if your regular miles are cut down to half or less than half. What kind of a bonus is it then?
Right,
well, it's
yeah.
really not.
If you're having to play catch up on your bills, is it really a bonus? Right. Now, was this something that you had heard in one of my videos? I know we've talked a couple times today, but you really hadn't said. Had you heard me say something in this line and wondered if it was true?
Yeah, I've heard you talk about some companies out here that the more you're worth, the less they work you. And
right.
Not maybe in those words, but the same idea.
Right. And it was something that you was finding hard to believe with the company you're with because they had been doing you so good, correct?
Well, yeah, when I first started, man, they'd run me to death. I'd be begging for a reset.
Right.
Now, it's getting to where there's times where I'm begging to be rolling.
Right. Yeah, you're getting too many resets.
Yeah.
Well, is there any advice that you can give to the other new drivers out here about this whole scenario? Obviously, there's nothing that you could have really done about it. So, what can you share?
Advice I could really give them, I don't know what I could have done or what anybody could do there that would keep what's happening from happening. But
correct.
I would say when you do first start with somebody, enjoy all the money you make when you start.
Right.
Enjoy those miles, because once you get well, what I've noticed anyways, once you're worth more, it's better for them to pay somebody else to run those miles.
Right. And actually, that's been something that it's not just me that's been saying that for years. This is not nothing new to the industry. And it makes good business sense for the companies. If you're making less per mile, then yeah, they want to give you more miles and pocket the difference. And as you individually or as a group of yous, when you start working your way up that pay scale, then yeah, they want the cheaper driver to go. And like I told you earlier today, it makes you sit back and scratch your head and say, then why in the hell did you give me a pay raise? You know?
Right.
You would almost rather stay at the lower pay and get more miles. You make a better paycheck.
My first year and a half, if I had a week that was under 3,000, 2,800 mile week, I was disappointed, like, man, this week kind of sucked.
Right.
Now I'm wishing, last week I had 1,150 miles.
And what are you looking at this week?
That's 2/3 less. By the end of this load that I'm picking up tomorrow, I should be sitting close to 800 miles. And then if I can get another one put on before midnight Saturday, maybe I'll break 2,500.
But that
maybe,
20...
I don't know that yet for sure,
right.
But I'm hoping at least.
But still, you're looking at actually 800 miles this week, because your company, whatever's put on you Saturday, they'll pay you for that next Friday, but you still haven't ran the miles. So if they give you 1,500 mile trip, you're going to start that Saturday, wrap it up Monday or Tuesday, depends upon when you deliver. So you're actually already into next week, and you'll be getting paid for it, which will leave you short on your miles again next week.
That's right, yep.
Oh.
And then as that continues on, eventually you start running out of time, and then you've got to do a reset, so you've got to sit for 34 hours, and so that cuts off more.
Right. So ideally, if you're running this 1,500 miles, and we're just making that number up, people, he don't know what he'll get. He could get another 400 or 500 mile trip. But let's say you get a 1,500 mile trip Saturday. When are you emptying out on this one? You delivering it Friday or Saturday?
I'm not positive yet. I'm picking it up tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, let's be the day after.
Let's just work with Saturday. So let's say you get the 1,500 mile trip Saturday, and you run that out. You deliver it, let's say Monday, which is doable. That's giving you plenty of time to deliver it late Monday, and they dispatch you on another 1,500 miles. That's 3,000 miles. So now you're up into, say, Thursday, and you don't have a whole lot of hours left. So you're fixing to get a reset. So at the best, you're looking at 1,500 miles again next week.
Right.
So it's a vicious game they play. And that's where I've told people, and now you're starting to understand, is that when these companies tell you that they are family-oriented, they are. But the family happens to be theirs, not yours, and they really don't care how you're getting along. You're nothing but a piece of equipment and a statistic that the bean counters are working with. Can you?
Right. They've got 10 people set up at least, every week coming out of orientation that are ready to do your job for 10 cents less a mile than you.
Right.
So they don't care.
Right. And, if you're talking about 3,000 miles a week, 10 cents a mile times 10 drivers, that adds up to profit for them.
Right.
And, what we used to call this is starving you out. They keep cutting your miles so bad where you can't afford to drive for them anymore, and you go on down the road to another company, and they put one of them cheaper drivers in your truck, and that's one of the big things about these mega companies. It's a vicious cycle, and it just keeps continuing.
About that, like, why don't they just fire me? And then I think, well, if they don't have a good reason, they'd have to pay me unemployment. And then I'd make as much sitting at home as I'm making right here sitting.
Right, exactly.
They don't want to deal with that, so they want to starve you out, so you quit.
Yep. Well, are you feeling like they're trying to starve you out?
I have been for a little while now, yeah.
So, what are you going to do to address the issue? What are your plans right now with your career, is how I should say it?
Well, as far as now, I'm going to wait until I get this bonus because it's mine. I've earned it. They're not keeping it.
Yep.
Well, technically, they're keeping it because I'm not getting my same miles, but I'm definitely going to try to move somewhere else.
Right. Well, it's unfortunately, regardless how much you like the company when you start with them, unfortunately, they put you in these predicaments. And as you can see yourself, you've heard me say that there is not a driver shortage, there's a pay shortage. Okay, they're moving you up per mile, cents per mile, but they're cutting back your miles, so they're forcing you to quit. And here in a few months, when they have another 1,000 drivers quit, they'll be saying, oh, we just can't keep drivers. Well, damn it, if you'd pay them right and give them the miles and let them make a living, yes, you could.
Right. I would gladly stay with this place until I couldn't drive anymore, but I can't stay with a place where I'm not making anything.
Right.
Why do I want to be out here on the road for what,
Yeah, if you can't pay your bills.
Out here. This isn't a life.
Right. No, it's a lifestyle, but not a life. And if you can't pay your bills, I don't care if you're at home or over the road. If you can't pay the bills, you got to do something.
Right. If you're going to be broke at home.
Well, that's the old trucker saying right there, buddy. I can starve to death at the house.
Yeah. Cheaper.
Right? Oh, wait a minute. I was thinking cheaper to keep her. That's the wrong story. We're on a different story here. What the heck? Well, what else can we talk about on this situation? Overall, and not necessarily on this situation. Overall, what are you thinking of your driving career? Is it what you fantasized or thought about, or however you want to say it, before you came out?
It's not going to end. I can say that. I still like driving. I'm still gonna drive. It may not be with this place where I started, but
right. But no, I mean overall, the views that you had of trucking when you decided to enter into it, and now 2 years into the road, is it even close to what you thought it would be? And if it's not, what's different about it?
It's not close anymore, really, or it's getting farther away. And what's different about it is becoming the pay. When I started, I was making, starting wages, but I was making pretty damn good money for most of the time. And it's changing fast. So well, that's what's changing about it.
What about the lifestyle? Is the lifestyle what you pictured it being?
The lifestyle? Yeah, I kind of had an idea what it would be. The lifestyle doesn't bother me so much, but it does bother me not being paid for the lifestyle.
Right.
There's no reason for this lifestyle if you're not making a decent living doing it.
Right. And it's amazing how it keeps coming back to the money, ain't it?
Yeah.
And not only on your part, on the company's part, because the company's doing what they're doing because of the money.
Right.
So you're overall, you still like trucking.
Right.
And overall, you're still going to continue to do it as long as possible.
But I'm gonna go where it's worth it to do it.
Well, money. You're going to where the money is.
That's right.
So I mean, the world rotates around that money. Despite what some of the politicians want you to think, their world rotates around it.
Yeah.
So, So
their world rotates around our money.
Yeah, buddy. That's a fact. So, well, dadgummit, I'm searching for something to keep this going a little bit longer. So
Right.
if you got something to help out with, I'll let you.
Well, I can't really put trucking down. You know, I can't say that it's a terrible thing or a bad thing, but I can say it's a learning experience. That's for sure.
Right. Well, and you know, it's a good lesson for everybody that even regardless, I'm telling them always to do their homework before they make choices. You can make a choice, and it can be a damn good choice. Like yours was, you was a good fit with this company for the first year and a half. It's a good lesson for everybody to see how fast stuff can change around on you. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that you was just tickled to death with them. And how long has it taken them to decline? Was it a gradual thing, or did it just pretty much happen overnight? How did they play this off on you?
It's been gradual. I was looking at my continuity today, and over the past few months, my miles and everything has just slowly been dropping.
And you can basically see the miles dropping as your pay went up. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part, and the closer that I've gotten to this year's bonus,
Right.
I've been noticing it. Before it would be that I would have a load planned on me before I dropped the load that I was under. Now I'll drop a load and send in an empty call and sit for 3 hours like today before they send me another planned load.
Right.
And usually one that's already late for pickup before I even know it exists.
Right. Now, have you addressed them? You said you've noticed over the last couple months or whatever that this has been going down, your mileage. Have you talked to them? Have you addressed it with them?
I spoke with my fleet manager a little bit last week, talking about the miles and saying, I hope next week, maybe I can get some longer runs. And, well, this is next week, and she hasn't even been in the office most of this week.
Now, didn't you just have a fleet manager? I call them dispatchers. Didn't you just change dispatchers a little while back?
Yeah, that was probably
2 months ago, maybe?
2, maybe 3 months ago at the most.
And,
Yeah.
and wasn't that over the short? Was that over the short trips?
Part of it, yeah, and I couldn't get through to the guy. I could never get an answer. When I did get an answer, all he would tell me is, hold on while I go ask. Well, if you don't know anything, why am I talking to you? Why don't you just give me somebody that knows what's going on and let me talk to them?
True.
I got tired of that real quick.
True.
So I switched to a new fleet manager, and now this one's never in. Well, they take a lot of time off, we'll just say that.
Yeah, but you can't. They can't let that
Right.
truck stop. Now, when you switched over to this new dispatcher, your miles did pick up, right?
Yeah, for a little while.
Yeah, for about a month or whatever, and now they've started dropping again.
Right, and when I first spoke with this one, they said, well, how many miles do you like to get a week? And at that time, I was used to getting around 3,000. I said, I'd like to get 3,000 a week at least. And they were honest. They said, well, that's most likely not going to happen, most of the time, but I try to get all my drivers at least 2,500. Okay, well, now I'm dropping down to 1,100 a week. That's not anywhere near 25.
Yeah, it ain't even the halfway mark.
That's 2/3 less than what I was making the first year and a half out here.
Well, they're probably playing that average game. To have an average, you got to have a low and a high, and the ones on the higher pay gets the lower numbers, and the one on the lower pay gets the higher numbers, and it averages out to that 2,500.
Yeah.
Well, it sucks that it's happening to you, my brother, but unfortunately, it happens a lot to a lot of drivers. This is not a new game, and I've heard this same story so many times over the years that it's a crying shame, which is why you hear us older drivers laugh and say, yeah, driver shortage. It ain't a driver shortage. There's a lack of respect for drivers, and there's a lack of pay out here. That's where their problems are, and if they would learn to address those too, then they might actually keep drivers. So,
right.
It's a shame. It really is. Now, over here where I'm at, we do get respect, so to speak. We're not disrespected. Let's put it that way. And he tries to stay right there at the national average, which I think that's a little bit. I think he should be on the higher part of the average, the national average. But he ain't. He's shooting to be right there at the average. That way he stands a chance of keeping drivers. But they run us. Their whole thing is they want the trucks running. As if the truck ain't rolling, ain't nobody making money, the company or them. That's because it's a small company. When you have the larger company, J.B. Hunt was quoted, the real J.B. Hunt, that started JB, he was quoted as saying if he could make a penny a mile off of every truck, that he'd be a rich man. And we see where J.B. Hunt is today, which he was one of the,
all over the place.
Right? Well, he was one of the founding fathers in going out there and cutting the rates and taking the loads from everybody else. You know, he would go into a place and just bid it super low. Well, that hurt the whole industry, but he grew. So, well, brother, I ain't gonna catch you in a hard spot here. So, is there anything else that you would like to share with the folks?
Not that I can think of right now, really.
All right. Well, maybe we will do this again in a few weeks and see what has came of this scenario.
All right.
What they have done, what you have done, do a little follow-up on it. But I wish you the best of luck in whatever you decide to do. And sorry that you had to learn this lesson the hard way, but unfortunately, life seems to teach all of us the lessons the hard way. So,
well, I think that's how it goes. I think from what I've heard and what I've seen, and I think that's kind of how you get into it. All the gifts and presents and shiny stuff in the world, and they'll show it to you for a while until you become worth something, and then it's worth more to them.
Yep.
To take it away.
Yep.
And give it to the next one that doesn't know any better.
Yep. That's in life in general. That ain't just in this industry.
Right.
So, dadgummit.
But it was still worth it, you know. It got me in here, it got my foot in the door. I've got 2 years under me, and
right. And seeing that right there is where the company is paid off for you.
Right.
You now have that 2 years, and with 2 years, it has opened up so many doors you probably don't even realize, because from my understanding, you ain't really started looking for anything else yet. But when you do, you're going to find out now that there's a whole lot more doors open, because you have 2 years, you have a clean record, no accidents, a decent work history, you know. Now that's something else you're going to have to watch and check. I'll go ahead and throw it in here. And I don't know how to check it nowadays, but companies are known for using the DAC report as a weapon against you when you quit them. So you're going to have to check your DAC report after you quit them. You can get a free DAC report, and they don't call it DAC anymore. I forget what they call it. So do your homework on that, and make sure that this company does not give you a bad DAC report. And if they do, they just had a lawsuit a few years back where the government told them that they had to make a way for the drivers to protest the DAC report. So if they do put something bad on you, contest it. So make the company prove it. And that's where I've told people quite often to keep records. So hopefully you have records of what all you have done and or not done, which I know that don't make sense, but double check your DAC report. Don't let them slam you and hurt you with a bad DAC report just because they didn't want to pay you and you wanted to move on.
Well, as far as accidents or tickets or anything bad, there's not anything they can say that I've done, really. At least not a whole lot of anything that would make a difference.
Right. The only thing that they could really say that would hurt you at this time is if you abandon the truck. So do not abandon their truck. Make sure you take it back to whatever terminal you got it out of. And they could say that you was late on loads and something to that effect. I don't know what all they're allowed to ask when a company sends to them. My understanding, the only thing that a future prospective employer is allowed to ask is, have you had any accidents? Have you failed a drug test? Did you refuse to take a drug test? Stuff like that. I don't think they're allowed to ask too much more than that. But I don't know that. That is an uneducated comment. So it ain't. I have been told that they're allowed to ask if you are rehireable. I'm not sure of that one. So whatever company that you might start talking to, you might ask them and let them educate you on what questions they are legally allowed to ask the other company. So,
all right.
Just my thought. Now the other company might say, why would you want to know that? Well, because I'm the National Enquirer. I've got an inquiring mind. And, I'm new at this stuff. I want to know.
Right.
All right, my brother, I appreciate you taking time, and I appreciate you sharing your story with us. And hopefully it will help some of the other drivers down the road to know what they're going to have to deal with. So any of you new drivers out there that's only been into the industry for a few months or a year, take heed to what has happened to Nomad. It very likely could happen to you.
But don't let it make you change your mind. I mean, it's still, to me, it was still worth it. I'm not done. They haven't ended me. There's
Right.
no end to this Nomad.
And actually, that's a good thing. I'm glad to hear that. You know, this is just a bad experience with one company out of thousands of companies. So, you know, now it's time for you to use them as a stepping stone and find the next step in your adventure and new career.
Right.
And hey, dude, you know, the next company you try might not be right either. You might have to try a few of them. You know, I have been through a lot of companies out here in my 25 years. And I can tell you now, I've only had a half a dozen that was really good companies. This one happens to be one of them. But I damn sure have seen more bad companies than good companies. So that's just something else that you're going to have to be ready for. But once again, now that you've got a little bit of experience under your belt, you have a better idea of what kind of questions to ask the next company. And with a little bit of experience under your belt, you now will have a better idea on if they're BSing you or telling you the truth. You know? So, and remember, a recruiter's like a used car salesman. They just want to get your butt in a seat. So, it's up to you to sort through the BS. All right, folks, we're going to let you go. That was Nomad, 2 years out here. He's having a little struggle with the trucking industry, which is to be expected. Y'all will have yours down the road, so do not think that this will not happen to you, because more than likely it will. But with that, thank you, brother. We appreciate you sharing your time and your story. The rest of y'all, remember, God loves you, and so do we. Y'all have a blessed day now.